Hey guys, welcome back to Harrison's Favorites. Today we're doing some more predictions. We're in week 2 right now. Week 1 just happened. It was a really good week 1. That was probably one of the best week 1s we've had in a few years. There's some good games, and I had 82%. I only got 4 games wrong, so I did pretty good. This week's kind of more of a easier schedule, but there are some really trappy games. I think that there could be some upsets happening this week, so I'm looking forward to this week because Oklahoma also has college game day coming, and we play Michigan this weekend. Big game, playing against Shannon Moore in Michigan and Bryce Underwood. It's gonna be a good game, so let's get into our predictions. And our first game is FIU versus Penn State. Penn State played Nevada last week, so it was a cupcake win, and they're going to get another easy win, so I'm taking Penn State. Our next game is Texas and San Jose State. Texas, they lost last week, so that was a good week. And, man, Archman did not look good at all. He missed some pretty easy throws out there. He just didn't really look comfortable out there, and Ohio State basically shut out Texas for most of the game besides the last 5 minutes. So yeah, Texas is definitely gonna win this one, but their offense did not look good out there versus Ohio State. But I definitely got Texas here. And our next game is Illinois versus Duke. This is gonna be a very interesting one, playing at Duke. I kind of like Duke this year to be kind of a dark horse, but I think that Illinois is a little overrated this year, but I think that I don't really know what to expect from Duke because I just don't know yet. I don't know if they are what I think they are, but that's why I'm going to take Illinois as a safe pick, but I could easily see Duke pulling off an upset here, but this is probably a 50-50 game, but I think I'm going to take Illinois to win this one. And our next game is Florida State versus Eastern Texas A&M. Man, I did not think Florida State could have ever beaten Alabama, but man, they shocked me. That was crazy. And Alabama did not play good at all versus Florida State, and Florida State just basically dominated versus Alabama the entire game. And Tommy Castellanos looked really good out there, so I'm taking Florida State easily over Eastern Texas A&M. Our next game is Iowa versus Iowa State. This is going to be a good game, rivalry game. Iowa State coming off 2 big victories already, and Iowa didn't look the greatest versus Albany. The quarterback didn't look that good, but I'm going to take Iowa State at home for the rivalry game. It's going to be a little closer because it's a rivalry game, but I'm taking Iowa State. And our next game is Baylor versus SMU. This one's going to be really good. I thought that Baylor was actually going to beat Auburn last week, but Auburn actually shocked me. But I feel like Baylor morally disappointed me. But SMU played an easy opponent last week, so we'll really see what they can do this week. But I'm taking SMU at home. Our next game is Indiana versus Kennesaw State. Indiana had a little close versus Old Dominion there early in the game, but they pulled out and won by, I think it's about 40 probably. But I'm taking Indiana easily over Kennesaw State. And our next game is Kent State versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech didn't really play anyone that good last week, so nothing really to say about them, but I do think they're going to be really good this year, but I'm taking Texas Tech easily. And our next game is Utah State versus Texas A&M. UTSA was keeping a little close with Texas A&M last week. It was looking a little scary for Texas A&M, but then they locked in the second half. But yeah, I'm taking Texas A&M pretty easily here. And our next game was Ohio State versus Grambling. Ohio State, big win over Texas, take the number 1 spot. Their defense looked really good out there, and Julian Sayin looked pretty good. I mean, he didn't have to do too much because their defense was so good, but he did do enough they could win. So think Ohio State's going to get an easy blowout here, so I'm taking Ohio State. And our next game is Georgia versus Austin Peay. Georgia played Marshall. That was a pretty easy game, and this is going to be another easy game for Georgia. But they play Tennessee next week, which will be honestly an interesting game because Tennessee looked really good last week. But I got Georgia really pretty easy in this one. And our next one is Oregon and Oklahoma State. I would take Oklahoma State if they were a little better, but they have not been very good, so I'm going to take Oregon because they're at home and they're supposed to be pretty good this year, so I have to take Oregon. Our next game is Clemson versus Troy. Clemson really sold me in the second half. They didn't score a single point, and honestly, LSU dominated them in the second half, and yeah, I thought they were going to win, but they just could not score in the second half, and I think that this one's going to be definitely a bounce-back win for them, so I'm taking Clemson. And our next game is Kentucky and Ole Miss. Last year, Kentucky upset Ole Miss at Ole Miss, which basically ruined Ole Miss's playoffs because then they end up losing 2 games at the end of the season to Florida and I think it was someone else, but I think that's what cost Ole Miss this season last year, but this year I think Ole Miss can get the revenge at Kentucky, so I like Ole Miss to win. And our next game is Tennessee versus ETSU. Tennessee honestly looked really good out there. Joey Aguilar was throwing dimes, and yeah, they pretty much dominated Syracuse, so I'm taking Tennessee easy. And our next game is USF versus Florida. Man, USF actually surprised me beating Boise State, but I feel like Boise State I felt like I was more disappointed in Boise State than I was kind of impressed in USF. Like, I feel like Boise State they couldn't score the ball at all in this after the first drive that they scored on. And USF had no offense in the first quarter, and then all of a sudden, the second quarter, they just had offense. And that quarterback, Bryman Brown, I think, he's a beast out there, but Florida's going to definitely win at home versus USF. But this could be kind of a sneaky game, but I got Florida winning. Our next game is Utah versus Cal Poly. Utah had a really good game last week against UCLA, and they dominated. I mean, wasn't close for any really minute of the game after the first quarter. Won 46-10 versus UCLA with Nico Amiava, and they looked really good, so I'm taking Utah to win here. Our next game is Miami and Bethune. I don't know what school that is. I think it's some random school. Miami had a crazy win against Notre Dame. I thought Notre Dame was going to win, but Miami looked honestly really good out there, so I'm taking Miami to win this one. And our next game is South Carolina versus SC State. South Carolina looked a little shaky at first, but started to pick up things against Virginia Tech. More of a defensive game, but Lenore Sellers looked very good, so I'm definitely taking South Carolina here. Our next game is LSU versus Louisiana Tech. This is going to be an easy one, LSU for sure, but LSU looked really good against Clemson. The first half was not that good, but the second half they dominated, so very good game. Very tough game on the road, and they basically show that they're the real Death Valley over Clemson because they came in there and won somehow. And Garrett Nussmeier looked very good out there, so definitely taking LSU here. Our next game is Arizona State versus Mississippi State. This one can actually be a good game. Playing at Mississippi State, Arizona State didn't really play anyone last week, so this will be an interesting game, but I think that Sam Lovett's going to be too much for Mississippi State. I don't think they'll be able to keep up with them, so I'm taking Arizona State. Our next game is Oklahoma versus Michigan. Got College game day coming. This is going to be, it's definitely the best matchup of the entire week. It's going to be a crazy game. It's probably going to be a low-scoring game because two really good defenses. And obviously, I have to pick Oklahoma, and I think that I don't think Bryce Underwood's going to be able to handle that crowd at night in Norman. It's his first ever road game in college football as a true freshman. I don't think he's going to be able to handle it. So I think that we're going to be able to pull off this win, and that'll definitely move us up in the ranks. And if we get this win, I think that we can honestly be undefeated by the time we play Texas, because the only other team we really have to worry about is Auburn. So if we win this game again and against Auburn, then we'll be undefeated going into the Red River rivalry. So this is a very important game, and if we want to have a chance of making the playoffs, we definitely have to win this game. But last week, John Mateer looked really good. He had a lot of pass yards. Offense kind of looked a little shaky, but we did enough to win the game, and defense looked pretty dominant. I mean, we just dominated them, but we did kind of allow a lot of rush yards, which is a little concerning, and the run game on offense wasn't the best, but Trey Bollock, the freshman, looked very good out there. He had a touchdown, and then he got hurt, but he looked very good. I'm excited to see what Jay Knott does this week, because he only got one carry last week, so I think we're trying to kind of hide Jay Knott away from Michigan so they couldn't get enough film on him. So hopefully he gets more playing time, because I'm super excited for Jay Knott this year. But I'm taking Oklahoma at home to win. It's going to be a very close game, but I got us winning. And our last game of week 2 is UL Monroe versus Alabama. Alabama did not look good against Florida State. Ty Simpson they didn't really run the ball that much, and they couldn't run it that much, and their pass game also was not very good, and their defense was just getting destroyed. So I don't know how I feel about Alabama this year. They didn't look that good against Florida State, so we'll see if they can pick things up. But they're definitely going to get a bounce back here versus UL Monroe, so I'm taking Alabama. Well, that's it for week 2. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and make sure to keep those horns down. Bye.